Alrighty, welcome back. We are on episode number 196 of Divinity Original Sin. So last episode we saw the end of the game, and yeah, I'm back. We're going to see what happens if we hit continue here. That just puts us right back to the end of the game. Okay. Well, let's see. Alright, so none of that was useful. That last level we picked up, level 23. Ended up being pretty pointless. Yeah. That's what it looked like at the end for him. For her. So, if we looked at the final equipment for Roderick here, let's see what I ended up getting. Alright, that's pretty much the ending equipment we had. And his ending attributes over here. His ending abilities. So we ended up spending base of 3, but I think 2 of those were at the very end, so. Alright. So, in Roderick's case, he was set up to be a grenader, and early on in the game, the grenades were real useful. But as we got more and more powerful, the grenades became less and less useful. We hardly used any of them, if you want to know the truth. I don't know if I ever even threw a Nightmare Grenade. We did use some Holy Hand Grenades. We used the Love Bomb. Didn't really make much use of the Poison Flags, the Oil Flags. Early on, we used the Water Balloons to put people out of from being burning. Thunderbolt Grenade every now and then. Didn't really use it as much. Thunder Jump was the skill, like the #1 skill. Thunder Jump was easily the #1 skill to use. Battering Ram wasn't as good later on as the Thunder Jump. All the touch spells were good. The control ones, not really the vampire one. But the ones that controlled the burning one is also good. For him, you know, I never really used any of the other spells because it was just better to line up the backstab. I mean, really, all of these, I don't know, it just seemed better to line up the backstab because you can get the critical hit on the backstab and do massive amounts of damage. So it was never beneficial to really waste the AP to use these. And, you know, the game wasn't so hard that you would need to cause bleeding or to cause poisoning or to weaken the target. I mean, it just wasn't that difficult. We quickly became overpowering early on, which made many of the skills kind of useless. Teleportation was another really good spell. So with Thunder Jump and Teleportation, I mean, those two were really good to have. Early on, Bitter Cold was pretty important, and so was Crushing Fish, but later on they didn't really need to be needed. The Decapitators were pretty good. We were using Winged Feet all the time. He was using Walking Shadows for much of the game early on. Rage, well, it was alright, but yeah. Rain we were using all the time. All these other spells were very few. We obviously Regeneration and Cure Wounds we were using all the time. Helping Hands early on was a thing. The power stances we were using all the time. Yeah. As far as Scarlet goes, this is her ending equipment, which wasn't as nearly as impressive. The leadership helm I kept for Medora. We found a robe with speed on it. You know, not really impressed with the equipment overall in the game. It was just too much of it was dependent on random, just randomness, and speed was the key on all the equipment because, you know, we were spending on your primary attribute, the dexterity and intelligence in this case, for your abilities, so you weren't able to spend extra points on speed, so you needed speed on all your equipment for everybody. So, yeah, wasn't really impressed with that. She ended up with and again, some of those came at the very end, the bodybuilding and willpower. So as far as traits go, between him and her, neither of us went pragmatic on this. Obedient, egotistical, and heartless, we didn't go. Righteous and renegade, bold and cautious, spiritual, materialistic. Neither of us went to vindictive, bold and considerate. So as far as her skills go, Rain of Arrows was hands down the most powerful skill I had. It just absolutely destroyed things. And followed by that was Aerospray. Her master spells were actually really, really good. We were using Farseer quite a lot. Obviously the power stance we were using. Every now and then we were using Ricochet. Not so much on the Barrage and Splintered arrows, but we did use them. We were using Adrenaline all the time, by the way, yeah. This was after we respec, this became the most important skill to have was Adrenaline. And then we had quite a bit of Survivalist Karma use. but hers was streamlined, so that's pretty much all she really needed to use. We did pick up Charm, use that quite a bit. She had Hail Attack, and when we used Hail Attack, it was actually pretty good. Ice Shard we didn't really use that much. She did have Vampiric Arrow too, but didn't use that very often. Never really used much of Soul Sap at all, honestly. Every now and then we did Willpower and lower resistances. We hardly ever used Malediction or the slows. Especially the Mass Slow. I don't think I ever cast a Mass Slow once. Again, Destroy Summon we use every so often. When I remembered that we could do it. Decapitator was good. The Desecration, none of these were really all that important. Never did see the Doctor spell after the beginning of the game. Never saw it ever again. So if we load back to a previous save here. Let's see if this is the one that we can go to. Alright, so looking at Medora. So Medora, her equipment looked like this. And the only reason I had the breastplate like that was for the immunity to fear, because she didn't get it with leadership. Never really found anything better for gloves. Her abilities were streamlined to her Man-at-Arms. So she had two-hand. We ended up putting a couple points in Armor Specialist, but you really needed 3 Armor Specialists if you wanted to wear the other armors, the top tier armors, I think. At Arms, and Scoundrel. And then she had Leadership at 6. Gear. Of course, she can't have traits. So for her abilities, melee power stance, of course. Adrenaline, yes, biggest spell for everybody at the end. Battering Ram was her only way of getting around. She used Crushing Fist quite a lot early on. Used Flurry as much as we could. Used Crippling Blow quite a bit. Used Whirlwind. At the very end, when we were fighting the Void Dragon, we used Shackles of Pain, and that actually worked pretty good. But other than that, kind of useless. She used Rage all the time, Encourage all the time. Taunt ended up being pretty good. We gave her Nick. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. For Jahan, his equipment was quite a bit better. So yeah, his equipment was a lot better. And he had dual wielding. We pumped Tenebrim up so he could craft with it. He was our crafter. I could have spent points a lot differently with him. I was trying to get him to master spell all of those. Scoundrel, Hydrosophist, and Aerothurge, and honestly it just wasn't necessary at all. his bread and butter was backstabbing. So again, Thunder Jump was the most important thing to have. The control spells were all really good to have. Fiery, Burning Touch was good. Melee Power Stance and Adrenaline. Rain was something I used on him quite a bit to put out fires. Regeneration. Again, you know, it wasn't really necessary to use any of the Scoundrel abilities because backstabbing was so much better. But I did use Shadow Step quite a bit at the end of the game. I did. So that would be something that's useful, except that Shadow Step puts you back to where you came from, and with the backstabbers, you want to be in the combat. So, you know, you're wasting 6 AP on an attack for a backstab that takes you out of backstab range. The few times I did use Hail Attack, it was pretty impressive. Storm really wasn't that impressive at all. I would avoid using that at all next time, if there ever is a next time. There probably won't be, but Crushing Fist early on in the game, Bitter Cold early on, Blitzbolt early on, those are all good. Teleportation we're using all the time. I actually made quite a bit of use of Tornado at the end there, so like the last, I don't know, 20, 30 episodes. Never really used Head Vice. I never really used Decaying Touch. Never used Haste. We used Fast Track early on in the game, so very early before I respec, Fast Track was the go-to spell, but Adrenaline is much, much better. So, yeah. So as far as the itemization goes in the game, them making crafted weapons the best weapons in the game by far, because of what you can apply to it with the Tormented Soul and the ability to make them high in damage. It just made every other weapon in the game useless. Every weapon, no matter what you picked up, even if it was unique, it wasn't better than the crafted weapons. So that's one part of the itemization that just threw it away. Other than wanting to use it for looking at it, for whatever icon it looks like in the game. Other than that, there was no point. So crafted weapons really were overpowering compared to the other weapons you got in the game. That was a mistake on their part, I think. It really ruined getting weapons. There was just no point. There was no excitement in getting any of the weapons. The crafted armor, however, was not anywhere near as good as the stuff that you could pick up. So I think they were better how they handled the armor versus the weapons. As far as the randomness goes, I mean, it was just pure random on what you found on the vendors. And if you saw here, I mean, look how much gold we have. I mean, we could have bought all kinds of things, but that would require you to go back to all those vendors and just do like a run every time you leveled up, every hour that you were in the game, just to pick and choose for the choice pieces. And we did that for a little while. In the beginning of the game, I was doing that, but you know, it's just something that got tedious, and it's like whatever. And I started steamrolling things, so it's like, what's the point at this point, you know? Really, what was the point of it? I don't know. I wonder what happened to all those items that we got that had the backwards name on it. It looks like they either got rid of it or they turned into the proper name. Weird. Anyway, crafting system honestly wasn't all that bad. There was just a lot of things that you didn't use or didn't need to use later on. Potions were completely useless. I mean, just utterly fucking useless. There was never a point in time where it's like, okay, I used some at the very end of the fight because I had action points to spend, and why not? That was pretty much it. But for the most part, all the potions were completely fucking useless. Other than the healing potions. most of the scrolls I could have used early on. I mean, I could have used a lot of the scrolls if I really wanted to, but it was just better to use the character as they are than to pull out a scroll and use it. So, the scroll system for creating spellbooks was cool, but using the scrolls after that became somewhat pointless. Yeah, so the itemization, you were picking up so many items that you just weren't using. Yeah. Anyway, so this mechanic here, alright. So, we never saw the Doctor Spellbook ever again, not that it mattered, but that was kind of odd. But this mechanic right here, this sucks.
Oh, and don't forget the time he got caught passing a love note to the Lizard Councillor's wife.
Is that why we never sail to Yuthel Gore anymore?
Speaking of youthful gore, that loopy legionnaire really thinks that orky charm loves him.
I wouldn't let an orc within 500 yards of my loving nature.
What about that weathered old Somcat at the inn? What was his name?
Ever hear about the time
Sam,
the captain
sir.
took the Duchess of
Unsinkable
Fiddle's carriage
Sam.
for the joyride?
Ha! Knowing him, he drove it straight to the pub and back.
Oh, and don't forget the time he got caught passing a love note to the Lizard Councillor's wife.
Is that why we never sail to Yuthel Gore anymore?
That mechanic there, that really ruined the game for me. And had I not been recording the game, I probably would have stopped playing. I do not like ambient conversations playing over and over and over and over again, especially when you're near NPCs you want to talk to in normal conversations. So they should have made that where the ambient conversation only happened if you were like standing right on top of the fuckers. Like if you were anywhere, you know, away from them, you could not hear that conversation. It really bugged the shit out of me. It was so utterly annoying. As far as the final battles go, they were all pretty easy. I mean, you were so overpowered by then that hardly anything was a challenge. I guess if you just went as fast as you could through the game without doing the side quests, without doing anything other than just pushing through, you might have had a challenge. But no, I mean, it just wasn't challenging. As far as the story goes, you're basically two cowards. You're two cowards that were going to spell doom for the entire existence if it weren't for Alyssa, the other general. It was her that provided you with whatever courage to end the threat of the Void Dragon. Without her, everything would have fell apart apparently. So it's a tale of a coward's redemption, and then just an idiotic goddess who can't control her curiosity and folds under peer pressure that causes all your hard work to be undone, essentially. And then you blamed yourself for the goddess's stupidity and removed yourself from time in some fashion. Who knows how that even happened? Because you were so distraught about letting the Void Dragon come out of the God Box again, even though it wasn't your fault. I mean, really, it is all Astarte's fault. Everything about the game was Astarte's fault. The tripe was in her ear, and she's like, yeah, let's go ahead and look in the God Box. Why? She knows what's in the God Box. Why the fuck would she need to look into it again? I mean, are you telling me that the tripe was so much more powerful than she is? That he could worm his way in there and insinuate himself and force her to do that? Yeah, I guess, apparently. But anyway, there also appeared to be very specific ways that this game wanted you to progress, and I think I did things way out of order, because I went to Lacula Mines and wiped that thing out really early, and it just seemed like everything around it was like, you need to go to Lacula Mines. Well, I already been there, and it really felt like it wanted you in Hunter's Edge long before you got there. Or long before I got there, at least. But, overall, I mean, the graphics of the game, I liked. I like the combat system. I think the enemies weren't powerful enough. You know, you ended up steamrolling things early on, not having... The fact that you didn't have to use the potions, that you didn't have to use the arrows, you didn't have to use the grenades. You know, you really didn't need the scrolls. There wasn't really a need for using strength or intelligence or constitution potions or any of the resistances at all. You know, they needed to make things harder. Like, each fight needed to be a challenge. But yeah, so overall, I like the game. This is the type of game I do enjoy. The inventory management system was very tedious, though, and so much stuff was not needed. I would have liked it better had they made anything that was not usable, just not, you couldn't pick it up. Like, there's no reason to pick up the forks, you know, the bottles and stuff like that. There's just no point in that. Unless they could be used in crafting, there's just no point. They should have made it where you couldn't pick any of that crap up. Yeah. See if there's anything else. I mean, and this thing here, why didn't it finish these off? It feels incomplete that these quests are still here and not finished. It's like I did something wrong for these not to be finished. The General's Tale, General Story, it's like, did I miss books? Is there something that I'm missing? I wonder. I really do wonder, did I miss anything on this stuff? Maybe they were supposed to be completed. I mean, this leads me to believe that they're not completed. Like, I missed something in these quests that made it where they're not completable. I mean, I'm at the end of the game, and it ends the game, but when you come back, you don't come back to the end of time. And also, that being said, How about this? This one. This never came up. I used every single solitary source stone I had, and this never came up. This is where all those party animals ran off to. I mean, should that have ever opened up? I mean, maybe I just missed a lot of shit that these quests aren't completed. It just makes no sense, though. I mean, it really doesn't. But anyway, you know, whatever it is, I missed it. Don't know how to get there. And, you know, you can't go back here. It's a shame that you can't come back after you've completed the game. It feels like I missed something. It really does. It feels like I completely missed something. And there's no way to correct it. Anyway, I guess that's the end of the game. So next episode I'll take a look at the Steam achievements, and then I will start up with part 2 of Divinity Original Sin. And unlike part 1, where I had played it before and stopped playing it, I've never even opened up part 2, so I have no idea what I'm getting into on that one. So, but I hope they improved on a lot of things that I just mentioned. Alright, so we'll see you on the next video. Later.